beginning, people used to hear the shofar and they would chalish from nervousness. What made it change to this attitude that, which I like better, this attitude that we have now that we're expecting Hashem to forgive us and that we will, it's a much easier way of coming to Rosh Hashanah. Why is it changed?
Like what my husband was saying in his Parsha class, that
Sorry, what's the question?
She started off by saying that years ago when you heard the shofar, people fainted from fright of what was coming. And today, what the Rabbi and the Rebbetzin were explaining is that it's a different attitude today. We go hoping that Hashem is going to forgive us, and we do it's a different mindset.
It was fear, but now it's not fear.
So I think it has to do with what my husband said, because it's interesting. When I showed him this in the Ali Shur, the beginning, we're talked about, we're only judged now, not what was and what will be. Those exact same psukim I found in the Shari Teshuva, which was written a few hundred years ago, in the time, like a little after the Rambam's time, like in the 1200s, so we're talking about 700 years ago. He uses those same verses and concludes a much scarier conclusion, which I don't have time to go through now, but it was just very fascinating how the conclusion arrived at then, and now we have this, positive. And really, like my husband was saying to me then, and then he said it in the Parsha class, is that every generation you really have to be able to talk to that generation, right, and know what we can, hear. And again, we're not in a vacuum. Like we're not only learning. Like we can learn, things from all the ages and put everything, include everything. But we kind of have to look at and deal with something we could live with, because then we can actually do something with it, as opposed to just staying paralyzed, as Ali Shor was saying. You know what I'm saying? Because then what do we accomplish if we're going to stay paralyzed in fear? Like we'll get nowhere, So we have to live with something we could deal with,
I just wanted to share something that I had a number of different versions of this email that's been going around, like the little clip. I'm sure you probably have all seen it already, but it just goes very beautifully with what you were saying about looking at things in a more positive way. There was a teacher, a professor that came into class and handed out papers, and the paper had a black dot in the middle. Everybody knows this? Yeah?
No, I haven't.
A black dot in the middle. Give me your email address and I'll send it to you. It has a black dot in the middle, and he asked the students to write about what they see. And everybody wrote about the black dot. And nobody wrote about the beautiful white paper. And he collects all their papers and he reviews them, and that's what he says to them. He says, everybody was looking at the black dot, meaning the bad things in our lives, the negative things in our lives. And sometimes we don't even see the good things that we're showered with because we're so focused on the negative stuff that's going on. And I just thought when you were saying about the, refocusing, it just made me think of that email. So,
you might want to say, you might think on the same lines, like chesed for yourself.
Talk louder.
Hi, welcome.
Talk louder.
Chesed for yourself. I'm correct. I'm just like going a little further. Chesed for yourself. I think a lot of the trouble comes in. It's not what you have, what I have, what I don't have. It's like what she has. Yeah. It's like the rich and the poor. Everything's relative, really. And I think if we think in terms of being happy, you know what I'm saying? The same idea, chesed for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's also like you might even think, well, that person is such, she's doing all these mitzvahs. I don't know. So I could see this coming in here. I'm not sure I'm right.
Well, they say, like in Gashmias and physicality, look at people who have less than you, so you'll feel all good that you have more. In Ruchnias and spirituality, look at people who have more than you, so that you could have what's aspired. Like they say, the real jealousy, like the good, every midah has good and bad, so the good part of the midah of jealousy is to be jealous of people who are wiser and more righteous.
Thank you for correcting me.
So that's the good part of jealousy,
Okay. You tell how you see it.
Because this Amuna thing you're saying that this rabbi wrote, there's also a woman, Ritter, She was from Beit Shemesh. And she comes to America every so often, the States and Canada, and she lectures about this, but she wrote this book also.
The one who has an illness or something, who wrote about it?
I think she did have an illness. for a
Yeah.
while. Now she's.
She's better?
Thank God.
Thank God, good to hear. Yeah.
What's her name?
It's put in
She
here.
says it every time.
There's a
Big
woman
check.
named Orit Ritter from Beit Shemesh who had certain physical challenges in life and used them. She has like a daily, I think, email that goes out about Amuna, and
Well, she has a book about it.
she wrote a
also.
book about it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.